Mental Break Podcast. Mental Break Podcast. Mental Break Podcast.
Ready, locked in.
Hello, everyone. This is Mental Break Podcast, and I'm your host, Seline Saint, and my co-host, Gary.
Good evening.
We are here with our very special guest, Matt.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew, South Florida.
All right. So Gary, go ahead and take it from there.
Okay. Well, today we're going to talk about one of those hot topics, the variations of terms utilized in describing people by the way they speak, by the way they conduct themselves, by the way they carry themselves. You think about an actor, Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us.
Dan Fogelman, you wrote a role for a black man, like that could only be played by a black man. And so what I appreciate so much about this thing is that I'm being seen for who I am and being appreciated for who I am. And it makes it that much more difficult to dismiss me or dismiss anybody who looks like me. So thank you, Dan. Thank you, Hollywood Foreign Press. Peace.
Very well-spoken young man who conducts himself in a very correct way, given a stereotype. Or what about Kerry Washington, an actor that presents herself very pleasantly, speaks calmly. You know, when you think about the show Scandal, you know, for probably 3 years, she and I were dating in my head. That's because she really conducted herself so well. Or think about Candace Brown, you know, a political commentator who really presents herself well, speaks well. Jennifer Williams from the Basketball Wives show. These are all people when we think about they carry themselves and they speak in ways that really allow you to see them very differently. You know, Gayle King, I can go on and on. But today we have guest speaker Matt. And I want to kind of ask you, Matt, what do you think about the term itself, Oreo?
All right, the term Oreo, definitely a term that I've heard throughout my career as an entrepreneur in healthcare, conducting with all different types of peoples from nationalities in different parts of the world. And one of the words, like you just said, Oreo, is something that's thrown around a lot because most people are probably expecting a different guy when they talk to me, or whether it be through Zoom or phone calls and such. And one of the things that I hear the most is, you're not the guy, or they're surprised when I am the guy that they were interacting with. And they would say a comment like, oh, but you're not like the other guys that I know. You're the Oreo, or the token guy in the group. And I don't know where that dreams from, but I think that it is definitely a term that can be used in a positive way and in a negative way. But I think that in today's society, it's more of a negative connotation. And I think that, you know, we should try to break down those barriers.
Okay, absolutely. Absolutely. So Seline, what about yourself? I know you are well-spoken, and what do you feel about the term?
I know that for sure it's a stereotype. With my experience, if I just rewind this, when I was in the 3rd grade, my very first best friend her name is Chantel. She's Caucasian, and we used to hang out all the time. She used to come over, sleep over, and stuff like that. I remember one time we went out. It was me, her, and her mom, and she was like, "Celine, look," and I was like, "Where?" And then I heard somebody who responded and said, "Dang, she acts so." She's, you know, said the word. It was very unpleasant. I was a kid. I was in the 3rd grade. I couldn't understand why was such, you know, a strong response toward me was said. I couldn't understand, like, why would you say that? But as I got older, and I'm like, oh, you know, I see it, you know, you're proper. So you're like, you fall into the category of being an Oreo, you know, like if you well-spoken, you're an Oreo. If you are well presented, I guess black people like myself should be a certain way. You know, I kind of thought of it, and this is not just for the black community, it's for others who are falling into a category just because they're well spoken or a decent person or someone who's well educated, someone who wants a better life, someone who wants a better circle for themselves. They being considered as, you know, an Oreo, I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you think about these characteristics that we have utilized to define each of us, to define cultures and to define races, proper, and the way you speak and the way you conduct yourselves, do you think that these characteristics only apply to one race or one culture? Or do you think that
I definitely don't think.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Definitely, I've been in the room with the people of other nationalities, and for that demographic, they're the Oreo of that group. And for myself, it's been being and it's funny because I'm a West Indian man. I'm from Grenada, very small country. Many people might not know of me, but when the world addresses me, they just see a black man, which is fine. But usually when people are talking to people of West Indian culture and stuff, and it's a different nationality and compared to some of the people that are Black American, because I always tell people that I'm West Indian. I don't know the struggles of a Black American man, but I feel for that person, because when the world looks at me, they look at us all in one group, which is fine. But we should just be looking at just a man within himself, right? And those are, like I said, some of the characteristics that we have to try to break down, and the narrative that has to be changed. Not to lose too far off your question, but you asked if I what was the question?
If you felt like these characteristics only apply to a culture or a race.
Yeah. So just reiterate, in no way everyone has their own fair share of licking of being putting into a pot based on how they present themselves. So yeah.
Okay. Celine, what do you think?
No, I agree. I strongly agree with Matt. It's just, again, we go back to being the stereotype. And I don't think it's just one group or one race that's going through it. I absolutely think there's a lot of people that's just probably feel that way, but they don't have the voice to, or maybe the courage to talk about it. But we're going to talk about it, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. These things get laughed out and brushed over a lot, and I think in conversation, but if people don't understand the mental breakdown behind it, I believe psychologically there's a lot of trauma that probably comes from that, because individuals are probably going to have self-hate or they wouldn't be encouraged to do certain things because they felt like they weren't they're not allowed to do certain things.
Right.
Simple things are just going in the water, like I'm a Black man. I like being in the water. I was just on a boat, a jet ski, snorkeling, and they're like, "What? You're doing all of that stuff?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, why can't I do all of that stuff too?" Right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think about myself, and when I was younger and going to Mobile, Alabama, and everybody kind of spoke with a slang and and then I went to college at Syracuse, and I'm around Professor Jones, and he's speaking very articulate, and he's he really taught me the whole difference in how, you can express yourself and how you can express yourself correctly. Right. What experiences do you all have in terms of maybe, when you spoke to people or you were around others that they gave you in regards to how they perceived you based on how you spoke, how you presented yourself?
You want to go first, Matt?
I think you should lead the way.
No, I think you should go first.
All right. In business, again, as a healthcare entrepreneur, I've been doing what I do for 10 years now, coming across people who make executive decision orders for people's health, and they pick on my brain for ideas, because I would like to think that my service and what I've learned over the last couple of years is a very delicate and focus driven business, and they want to hear about that. And a simple thing is me being on a Zoom call. Some things that I do is I don't probably present myself right away on a Zoom call. People usually just see a black screen, and then after business has been established and things have been taken care of, I appear out of
reveal
myself, and most people are shocked, not only just because I'm young, but as a Black man behind there, because I've heard it countless times. They're expecting someone else, or just the look on people's face is enough to tell.
Yes.
But it's funny when I walk into the room and I'm going to go meet people, I never walk in with that idea of the person in there. I just know that I'm going to a meeting and I'm going to meet with several people, whether they be who they be. My idea on my face is no different than the idea on their face is very different than what I would give to them. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, for me, I would say that I would walk into a room. I'm well respected, and And again, it has to do with your I don't think it's just being proper or any of that. I think it has to do with your upbringing. Um Certain ways, like your personality and stuff like that. I'm a people's person, but I'm a businesswoman. I get
Hmm.
down to business, and just being myself. It has opened a lot of doors for me. It has put me in a room with people that I probably have seen on TV and stuff like that, or people that I wouldn't think of, And again, I'm a very humble person, but I would say it got me to places that, the right direction. I'm proud.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess my thought process is we all are aware of these characteristics. We are all aware of these stereotypes. But I kind of want to shift it towards what can we do to change the narrative to where speaking properly or conducting yourself in this way is not characterized as this is that or this is this, but it's just who we are. What do you think we can do to change that narrative of how society sees this?
If you were to ask me, if you were asking me, I should say everything starts with love, whether it be love for yourself or love for another. I think that if just a small example of within the Black community, if we looked at some of our peers and we didn't use some of those terminologies, or we didn't analyze our peers in the same way, and we loved on one another in a higher manner, we're fixing it at ground level. And then once we continue to show those things to the world, the other races and nationalities or cultures will pick up wind of that. But because there's no love at the beginning, right? Generally, that's what causes that. I strongly feel like that, and love is the key. Then it comes education of how we can apply that love and education to those different things, those different factors, whether it be relationships, school, health, everything. You got to love yourself, right? And you got to educate on how to love in yourself and how to taking care of yourself. So just start with love and then break it down from there.
Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I agree.
That was well put.
Yes. Oh, Matt. I mean, I don't want to take your answer, but
But you are.
I
It
kind
was
of
too
wanted
good
to.
not to, right? It was too good not to.
You literally, you said everything: love, unity, and I'll just add, just have a great understanding of one another. Like it's okay to be different.
Yeah.
It's okay to be different. It's okay. It's not a bad thing, Um,
And it can be leveraged in the right way, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of different people in different nationalities, races, culture groups, whatever it might be, they use their network to leverage their
Right.
career or their education in different manners, right? So maybe again, if we look to remove that negative connotation from some of those terms and apply them how we typically apply them as business people, right? I like walking into the room knowing that I'm the Black guy that's going to be in the room. And most people are going to be shocked again, but admirable to it. And they want to give me opportunity and they want to talk to me and they automatically start telling me about all these cool, it's say Black encounters that they've had in their life, and to try to find that common ground of relation with me past skin type, right?
Right.
That's something that comes in so quick once they realize that, oh, okay, I'm talking to someone that people expect me to be college educated, but I dropped out of college my first day. I went to college for one day, right? So that was
Okay.
it. They expect me to be some type of well-educated individual,
Right.
but
Right.
reality, I'm just someone that is book smart and street smart.
There you
right?
go.
And because of our Blackness and our ability to get into rooms differently, we can put us in the room with all different types
There
of
you
people,
go.
and we will still be fine. It still be who we are, and there's nothing to sweat about.
Right. I agree.
Well, I do think that this discussion is truly catching a mental health moment. And, this is what it's all about. When I think about we are all here together, and you think about diversity and you think about the various cultures and races, et cetera, of all of us being here together, this mental break right now of discussion is what needs to happen more. This is what we all will grow from will expand from and will accept each other from. And I'm really excited that we're having this conversation right now.
So am I.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, I'm thrilled because this needed to be talked about. You
For
know?
sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the Mental Break Podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening. Until next time, you have a good day.
And don't forget to smell the roses and blow out the candles.